Where are these supposed to work? Who is supposed to build these the homes, like the kind of home you're in right now? Where you live right now, whether you rent it or you own it, where are all of these people supposed to live? So, Elon Musk does an interview, points out what a lot of people, by the tangential evidence, he just puts it together beautifully, words it well. No, there's a bunch of people who used to be feds, who work at Google, Facebook, that used to work at X, Twitter, and so this was all a government operation. This was, and that now we know that all of these firms were having regular meetings about the latest crisis. What was the latest crisis? Well, now there's a lawsuit against HBO that had shown that what HBO does is that if you give an HBO show a bad critique, that HBO has a bunch of employees who will go after you as a critic and will actually find your, like, digital trail and start messing with you online. Maybe messing with your friends and family, or, you know, going to your employer, you know, things like that, harassing your employer and stuff like that. I mean, by, selling your name, but that's something that now somebody has in under oath has said that when they were hired by HBO, that's what they were told to do to critics of HBO shows. So let's start putting a lot of this behavior together, because a lot of people would be like, well, you know, I see people online, you know, give each other the business, you know, mess with each other, this, that, and the other, harsh each other's mellows. But this is a little odd that companies would have people who seem to professionally do this. And then we're finding, okay, so if you were watching during the BLM period from D-Ray McKesson and on, that all of this was being networked on Facebook, all of it was networked on Twitter, all these people were watching for each other and each other's calls to arms on Facebook, Twitter, and Google. Information about all of this was on YouTube, like was being assembled together on YouTube. Who these people were causing all this stuff. Remember, they were streaming on Facebook. They were streaming the riots on various websites. So it wasn't like and then they had pay services allowing them to get paid while they're rioting, as they're showing everybody, look at what we're up to. So somehow, with this huge digital footprint, the feds can't find them. Somehow, they're just so ingenious. The Russian hackers have nothing, apparently, on these baristas of Antifa, because no one can find them. The feds have no ability to find these guys. They're geniuses. They're just too good. I mean, why doesn't the NSA hire these guys? Oh! Well, so now, what are we getting to know about? What's piling up? What's the information now that's piling up about all this? Oh, you had the former director of the FBI sitting down the hall from all kinds of people, obviously, seeing all this on Facebook. And it just didn't matter. We have that whole assembly of people at Google breaking into tears when Clinton didn't get elected. More and more, this is starting to become something that it starts, and then it's, now we have to watch out for the inevitability of the Islamophobia that's bound to pop up. Islamophobia People are openly attacking Jews now, but we have to watch out for Islamophobia online. I wonder who's going to be monitoring that. Wonder who will be monitoring that. Wonder, like, if what Islamophobia will count as is you talking honestly about what Muhammad really, his relationship to Jews were at the time of his life, supposedly, according to their own writings. Like, I wonder if that's going to be Islamophobia. Like, what's going to be so Islamophobic? Because, of course, it's the concept is always that it's phobic, because it's an irrational fear of them, you know. Anti-Semitism being apparently maybe a belief system that's anti anyone who speaks a Semitic language. I mean, it doesn't even make sense when you're referring to Jew hate. I keep sitting back and I'm like, I love these, that we live now with nothing but euphemisms and weird bumper sticker words and these kind of like corp mom phrases that you could just think of some, like, everything's Kathleen Kennedy. They're all Kathleen Kennedy or Hillary Clinton or Elizabeth Warren. They're all those hoes, you know, and then on top of it, the best is that, so let me rein it back in. So now, and then it gets more fascinating. I started to really do one of those along the line of association. So now we've got that riots ginned up online were being monitored by the government actively. People were even going to these police departments online, on Twitter, saying, these guys are about to start a riot in your city or town. The feds did nothing. They're not looking into it now. This is being called by the typists a myth. All of it is always being called a myth. So what started to hit me was, at some point, I remembered this thing that Hood Conservative brought up. This guy's a passport bro because he wanted to find somebody who had similar values to him. I started really rolling that around in my mind. Connecting all of this. Who keeps the Democratic Party going? Women. The female vote, not the male vote. If only men voted, it would be Republican in every state. If only women voted, it would be Democratic Party in every state. So I think we're really now clearly seeing what it is to give women power. They will start working with the secret police to lock people like Owen Schroyer. There's that other guy who he gets locked in a closet constantly from Jan 6th, that until he rolls on somebody, he's not even getting his trials. They keep putting him in solitary and then just vanishing him. So he keeps missing trials. I forget who that guy was. I think finally his story got it got legs enough that they finally started treating him according to how we treat humans in captivity. You know, that we're breaking international law when it comes to the Jan 6 people. We're actually committing real, like this is actually the government being extra cruel to somebody and unusual forms of punishment and stuff like that. So under the Democrats, all law and order falls apart. It becomes actually one of these things that you have to hand your kid over to be abused because somebody supposedly is an expert on something about how, you know, this child actually requires abuse. You know, and let's see, and that none of this could even happen if it wasn't for the female vote. And then it's, these men can't handle us, blah, 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 these passport bros. There's something bad about the passport bros. No. Let's just put it out there. The ease of life in the United States has made it clear a large portion of American women are flat out evil. Whether it's that the weak have lived when they would have died, so their bad genes have, you know, that we see what happens when Mother Nature's not allowed to take out certain people, you know, that when life isn't hard, that you see evil people are allowed to survive. The society doesn't, you know, do what they need to do to evil people, where they're like, oh, okay, well, no, because, you know, that one, she's kind of evil, so we had her marry, you know, the lump tard of the village. And they live way out. No, he's got a simple job of just getting firewood for everybody, you know. It's like, no, he's fine, they're fine. But no, she's a total bitch. And she's not good looking on top of it. She looks like a mushroom, and she's poisonous like one too, so. I mean, everything, South Park, all this has been, what a week. What a week. What a week. And then with South Park nailing it. Put a chick, and I mean the repeated, I didn't even realize like how many times the joke went. Put a chick in it, make her gay, make it lame. And that is the legacy of all of these people in the comics, these people trying to do fan fiction. Like, because remember, people tried to write another Star Wars series of books, and nobody bought the books. They've barely moved any product. They like one of the most lucrative franchises that all you had to do was make more toys. They could have made more toys and probably made quite a bit more money instead of like the last 3 movies. They could have just made more toys and made way more, not ruined the brand, all that, you know, because that's the thing is now it's, well, you're going to have to put both time and money into this, and then there's the thing of who's going to work on it. Are people going to work on it because it's legendary? At some point, somebody's going to be in the business 30 years from now and be like, oh yeah, I got my start at, and they're going to say like Andor, you know, and people are going to be like, oh yeah, you know, I got my start at Ahsoka. I was in the writing room, and oh, really? Really? And so, yeah, but now, back to the lesson at hand. Back to the classic. So, but now it's one of the things that this idea of similar values, and that these American women will be like, oh yeah, like being submissive, and when he's abusive, that's the one that keeps shocking men. When all these TikTokers, all these women getting angry, getting spun up about passport bros, or getting spun up about men in general, when the talk of abuse comes up, and that you're sitting there and you're going, okay, honestly, I can't really, like, all of us have compared notes. We don't know of any situation that, like, that we know, like, homie, like, just popped his woman. Like, none of us have experienced this. I've experienced 2 people that they were verbally extremely abusive to one another, and it was very uncomfortable. It was very uncomfortable, and I really was like, God damn it, why do you guys have to do, why do you wait to do this for when everyone's around you? Like, but the idea of just out and out physically abusive, and that there's men who consider that okay. Another one, none of us ever know what you're talking about. I just really want that for young women out there that you worry about this because you hear about, like, that this is some kind of norm of behavior or something like that. You know, you hear this from the critics of the passport bro thing. You just hear it in general criticisms, you know, of men by women online and YouTube. But it really should be understood. None of us ever understand how someone somewhere thinks abuse is normal. We don't get that. We don't know where this happens. We don't know that guy. Like, and when women are talking about this on YouTube, we're like, okay, seriously, like, why did you not go to the fucking cops? Like, what, who is this guy? Like, who does that? And, to the point that it comes up so much. But then, of course, you have the digital trail, because now we're all starting to find out about the digital trail and who's not so secretly running the internet. So now it's, well, but we look at the Tinder and we look at all these apps and we're finding, well, women only date about 20% of the guys on these services. So these possibly are abusive men. And all of you are insisting on dating them. Like, I mean, you know, these guys are putting themselves out there quite voluntarily. And you're picking them up voluntarily, and then they're, you know, involuntarily smacking you around or something. We don't know. Because it's basically ugly guys, the quote-unquote ugly guys probably won't beat you. The dusties won't beat you up. Just putting it out there. So this is starting to really, like, stack up in fascinating ways. Like, what information as power is doing to women and female adjacent kind of men who think like evil women, or want to go along with them because they're not very good looking and they have to get sex somehow. That when they are given power, they will immediately start trying to have Machiavellian plots. And so one of the things is now with the migrant invasion, with the illegal immigration invasion happening now, one of the most important ones with this is if there's anything rational about this, the whole idea would be these are people who are unemployed in their native country but are perfectly employable, and this one. Why? Who knows? Because somehow they'll magically understand English. That English will suddenly become a very easy language to understand. And that suddenly people will be incredibly employable. Bling! That's probably the same kind of science as COVID and gender sexualism. So that the economy is just going to soak up all these fucking guys. But it's men's work. So now we're all competing against all these fucking dudes from someplace else. Thank you very much. We get to do whatever we want to you now. Fuck you. You've shown us what you really think of us over and over and over and over again. This is your party. You guys vote this shit in. Without you, this party could not even exist. And then when they get the chance, they replace us. Fuck you. Passport brothers, have your kids with somebody who has a fucking soul. Holy shit. Just pure evil. Just evil fucking hoes. And it's just, and I'm like, and more, I'm like, really, like, it's not going to be this issue of us who are older. Us older guys, we're just bitching about it. We could put it into really good words. You got to worry about the young people. These young guys, that they're not going to have language for this for another 10, 20 years. All they're going to know is that for some reason, any other group of men is preferred over them because they were born in the United States. Fuck you. Your job should go to some other guy from some other place because his life was tough, you know. And you should also have all these weird rules applied to you and your behavior and the way you walk and the way you talk all the time because, well, you were born here. So, you know, that's how that's going to go. And so more and more, I'm thinking it's going to be pretty fascinating to see, like, this idea of, like, well, it doesn't matter all this, you know, people want to emotionally intelligize the young men, giving them the emotional intelligences. It won't matter if they don't have words for what's making what is wrong. And when they find those words, where are they going to find them? With me. They're going to find them with us. You won't be able to explain things because you won't. Evil doesn't do that. Evil doesn't make things clear. Evil doesn't explain. That doesn't really happen at some point of the story. That it turns out, oh, little did you know that I'm actually like an anti-hero version of Satan. You know, it's no, there's going to be no. You see, we want to legislate ourselves jobs. We want to take care of people, like we want, we want to take care of family members. We want to take care of our children. We want to take care of our mother and mother-in-law and stuff like that. We'll cook for a living, and take care of house. But we have to be actually given a wage and special benefits as if we were being employed someplace. And and so and then beyond that, so when we get to legislate ourselves jobs, then also we can never be criticized. So if we aren't effective school teachers, we don't effectively raise children, if we can't actually keep our marriages intact, we should also never, that's never our fault as well. And questioning this should put you in a special category of people on the internet that you are deserving of harassment or possibly every now and then being having your job taken away or being jailed or something like that. If you go up against our party, we get to jail you, and then later go, oh, whoops, we weren't supposed to do that. That's against the Constitution. This is another one that a lot of Democrats don't get. The young progressives and Democrats don't understand. The Democratic Party, in their problem with the Constitution, they've always had a problem with the Constitution. They've always been those people. The Constitution protects whenever it protects poor people, black people, Native Americans, or Asians, the Democrats didn't like that. They really are people who think that no, we all voted. 51 said we're right. So now all of you got to give us your shit. Like, it's really that kind of mentality. It really attracts a lot of people that would use democracy rapaciously that's why that we don't live in a democracy, because it could be so easily turned into a rapacious form of weaponized government. And that's why you guys want it, because you just simply are bigots who always think you're right and know-it-alls, and so you just want to penalize people for not agreeing with you, and you keep trying to say Republicans do that. There's no history of it, though. You don't have a real legitimate history of that. None of you can ever show that as like a real example, like solid, like this is absolutely that. Where now we have a mountain range of evidence of this, a mountain range. And it's like, oh, but we don't have, the Department of Democrats working for the feds on a sign in Facebook. We don't have that. Yeah. But no, we're not chumps. Well, you guys are. We're not chumps. So, your voters are, but we're not. So, yeah. Have a good day.